I spent 3 really eventful nights sleeping in this cemetery a few weeks ago. And I never had an ounce, I never had a millimetre, I never had an inch of fear. And here's the story, but it doesn't start here, it starts over the road at my place. About 3 weeks ago, I had on this farm this massive flood. It's the biggest flood I've had in the 14 years I've owned this property. This water behind me, and it's still real high, it goes all the way up this hill to within 4 inches, for us Aussies, 100 mil of going in, inundating my shed. I was really worried, so worried, because it's raining, it's pouring. In fact, if you want to watch the story of this flood, and I think it's an interesting one, you can see a link in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook, at YouTube, we've embedded it. Go and check it out because it's an amazing story of the power of God to save. So by the 3rd or 4th day, I mean, it's pouring down rain, the water's lapping at my front door. I'm thinking, I can't stay in here overnight because I'm living in a shed. And do you know what sheds do in floods? And this is the truth. They'll actually lift up off their foundations and float down the river. And I'm thinking, in the middle of the night while it's dark and it's going to be raining hard, this shed's going to lift up off its foundations and I'm going to look out the window and be floating down the river. So you know what I did? I went up to the cemetery. For 3 nights, I slept in the cemetery. And when I went up there, my wife said, "Hey Lloyd, weren't you scared? Weren't you afraid?" I said, "What of?" She said, "Oh, well, of the ghosts," and we have a joke between ourselves up there, the zombies or the demons, and she was serious about the demons. And I said to her, "I slept like a baby. I wasn't afraid. Why would I be? The only demons up there were the ones I took. I slept like a baby." Why did I sleep like a baby? Well, let's go back to the cemetery and I'll tell you. So the first night, I parked my car right here. Wasn't this car, I wouldn't have dared brought this old bomb out in the middle of a flood. It was my Santa Fe 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive, not going to get bogged. Problem was, such a steep angle, my feet came, well, it was really uncomfortable. My feet kept slipping back and hitting this tailgate. Second and third night in the cemetery with the dead, I hit the jackpot. I'll show you what I did. It's getting harder and harder for me to get out of that car. So I spent 2 nights right here. Oh, it was beautiful, undercover, it's raining, it's pouring, it's flooding. I'm okay, I'm safe, and like I told you, I'm in the middle of the cemetery amongst the dead and I'm sleeping like a baby. In fact, I worked out after this was all over, I didn't even lock my door once, sleeping like a baby. And I slept like a baby because I know what's going on with these people in the cemetery. And there's nothing going on with them that's any danger to me. Let me open my Bible just for 1 minute, not 2, 1 minute, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why I was so confident, why I slept so well. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5, 6 and 10. This is the Bible. It could not be clearer. It couldn't be clearer. Listen to this. Verse 5. The living at least know they will die, but the dead know nothing. Did you hear that? The dead, this is the Bible. The dead know nothing. They have no further reward, nor are they remembered. Whatever they did in their lifetime, loving, hating, envy, is all gone. They no longer play a part in anything here on the earth. Verse 10. This makes it even clearer. I don't think the Bible's trying to tell us something here. Whatever you do, do well, for when you go to the grave, there will be no work or planning or knowledge or wisdom. Of course I'm going to sleep well up here. The dead know nothing. They're not going to come up out of their graves and haunt me. They're not going to come and talk to me. They know nothing. When you die, you sleep. It's not the end though. There is a new beginning. It just doesn't come when you die. The dead know nothing. and I slept like a baby. So what happens to the dead? Let me finish with this wonderful promise. You might wonder why I've got my tractor here and my ride-on actually. Well, she's the love of my life. And I tell you what, I am not leaving this tractor down in that shed when that flood comes, not for anything. So I brought it with me and the ride-on and a bit of other equipment too, up into the cemetery. And she's been resting here, waiting for me to come back. I'm back today and I'm about to take her home. So what happens to the people in these graves? 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, 16 to 18. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a commanding shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God. First, the believers who have died will rise from their graves. Then together with them, we who are still alive and remain on the earth, we will be caught up in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Then we will be with the Lord forever. So encourage each other with these words. Glory, glory, glory. Hallelujah. If you love Jesus and you die and you are resting in that cemetery, asleep, you don't know nothing. One day he will come, you will hear his voice, and you will be resurrected to eternity. So there you go. I've brought my baby home. Home at last. You know, I can sleep in any cemetery, any place, anywhere in the whole world. And I think it might just about be one of the safest places you can sleep because everybody else there is asleep. There are no ghouls, there are no goblins, there are no zombies or ghosts, no demons. Oh, well, actually, there might be demons if you or I are there. Demons are interested only in the living, not the dead. And so if there were any demons in that cemetery when I slept up there that night, they had followed me. They were the ones that are around me all the time, tempting me no matter what. So there you go. The dead, when they die, they sleep. But Jesus will come. And there will be a new day. There will be a resurrection. Cannot wait. Hope that helped you. My name is Lloyd Grolimund. I'm the Aussie Pastor. And I love you a whole heap. But not as much as God does. Oh, P.S., P.S., P.S. If you enjoyed this video, like it. If you're on YouTube, hit the little bell, subscribe, and if you're on Facebook, share it. We'd love to have you on board the Aussie Pastor train. See ya.